whilst he's getting that going, just a little bit of explanation so we get into it. Cybercolloids is a contract research company based down in Cork, and we're multinational people. We worked for Unilever for a good number of years. Then we got fed up with that and decided to go on our own. And it just appears that in this world there's a lack of experienced food technologists. There seems to be early retirement schemes have kicked in, and there appears to be just a lack of knowledge. And we've been able to carve out a little niche from China to the United States, from India up to Norway, in providing people answers to questions they have on food texture. As you remove food, salt, sugar and fat out of foods, basically we have to put something back in to get your mouth to like it and go back and eat more. And that's really the space that we're in. We're a business-led research company, which is a bit different to academics. We're not interested in publishing papers or patents. We're actually interested in making money for our clients. But what it has meant is that we've become technology slaves, that we're working constantly for the next client or the next business day, which isn't the greatest. We specialize in polysaccharide chemistry, really from food texture and nutrition. And we've been very active in the open innovation space and within Europe. So we're here looking for collaborators in Horizon 2020 or any other companies that want to bring us into consortiums. Our specialism would be in these polysaccharides or hydrocolloids, whereas you've taken the sugar and the salt out of foods. As I've said, you had to put natural gelling agents back into food to allow your mouth to like it. So God's got a great sense of humour. He's hidden these things in lots of raw materials like seaweeds or vegetables or fruits, and our skill base has been able to turn those into white powders for you to put them back into ice cream or yogurt or bread. But where we've been a little bit stupid over the decades is that we've thrown away a lot of the other goodness of what is in the natural biomass, which we'll come back to. So basically we're in this business of food texture. As I said, we've got different projects all around the world, which if you'd said to me 14 years ago that's what we'd be doing, I'd have asked you, could I take some of the substance that you're on, because it just wouldn't have been possible to be able to fly around the world. But in the age of the internet, people find us on the web, people ring us up out of the blue, and just projects just come out of conferences like this, and it's been quite an intriguing journey. So the world that I've lived in is that on the right-hand side of natural gelling agents and thickeners, and to laterally I've ignored what we call food fibres. So you've got things like wheat fibre, oat fibre, carrot fibres sold, and a lot of them are gritty. So I wouldn't think of putting them into a yogurt, because I would feel them in my mouth and it wouldn't be very good. And we'll come back to that again. But that's the world of food texture. And on the right-hand side is what I've been involved with. But if you look at what's going on in the world, the consumer's beginning to ask for natural. Now I object to that word, because I can give you an all-natural yogurt which will kill you because it's got strychnine in it, but it's all natural. So the word natural doesn't necessarily mean good. But the consumer wants good stuff, and they think natural is good. They're also looking for, sustainability is a big word in the food industry. So people are beginning to say, why are we throwing away all our bent carrots? That's a good question. I have no objection to having a bent carrot, but there's 200 tons a week of bent carrots in Ireland that are just being thrown away to animal feed. It's ridiculous. So that's another driver. And then the industry is looking to reduce costs. So again, these are drivers that are coming in and is pushing some of the projects that we're getting involved with. I just skipped that one. You see, actually, the slides are on. Okay, so what we've been involved with the last few years is looking at food waste and starting to create fibres to put them back into food in a palatable way. Thinking like a chef. So instead of thinking like a chemist, think of what you can do in the kitchen. Don't talk about acid, talk about lemon juice. Don't talk about acetic acid, talk about vinegar. These are words that the consumer understands, and they're called minimally processed. Is the microphone dropped again? Okay. So what we've seen is we've been involved with brokering a deal of making gelling fibres out of waste grapefruit skins in Florida. Very simple processing. So instead of putting pectin on the label or alginate on the label, which has got an E number, you're able to put citrus fibres on the label. And you're able to get the gelling characteristic plus the extracellulose fibre benefit in your food products. We've been involved with a fat mimetic made out of cellulose. Now my client loves trees. He's from Scandinavia, and they grow trees and they make cellulose pulp. I've said to him, I'm not predisposed as a human being eating trees, and I would far prefer him to make this product out of oat. If he could take oat husk, which has got the same amount of cellulose, and I have an oat fibre that does what he's doing, I would have a fantastic labelled product, oat fibre fat replacer. It is an amazing product. It's called microfibrillated cellulose. They've actually ripped the cellulose fibrils apart and created a very nasty little word which we don't like in the food industry, nanofibrils, between the microns, and he's got an amazing surface area that just loves absorbing fat and water. And then the simple products, not as exciting as the cellulose, but water binders from oat husks. And there's gelling fibres as well from seaweed casings. So one of the examples I give is, as a chemist, I've extracted alginate from seaweed and I've thrown the rest of the seaweed away. It's cost me money to get rid of that biomass because I can't just dump it in the sea. I have to treat it in a proper manner. Whereas now we've taken what is a sea vegetable. There's 24 seaweed species in our oceans that are vegetables. I've done some kitchen chemistry on it and I've actually got a sea vegetable film. I've got no E number. I've actually got a natural film. Now the slight problem is it's either brown or green. Now, because that's the colour of nature. I can't do anything about that. But when I showed it to a sausage casing guy, he actually liked it. He said, well, if it's all natural, I would expect it to be green. So maybe you're going to see green sausages in the market. But he wants to replace his alginate with something more consumer friendly and more sustainable. So what we're seeing is we're seeing the development of what I'm now calling multifunctional fibres. They're not just coming into the food chain as a fibre source, they're coming in because they are acting as a fat replacer or they are acting as a gelling agent, and they're encroaching into my old world. That's fine. And in that centre space, that's where you want to think like a chef. So examples of the citrus fibres are out there. Is superior water binding, stabilization, and I won't go through these in detail because we haven't got the time and the hearing. You can have a copy of this presentation or you can contact me if you want more details. That's an example we've done in bakery. Mayonnaise. The cellulose product is actually fantastic in mayonnaise. We're able to give you a 3% mayonnaise which has the mouthfeel of full fat. And that's the major objection, not on a health benefit, but on a cost benefit. Actually, to get all that fat out of the product, but you still are looking for a full fat. Also the same in ice cream. We can reduce the fat in ice cream by 25% and still give you the same full fat mouthfeel. These are some examples of products that are on the market. Some are new and some have been around a while. But we're seeing this as an increased development as that consumer driver of all natural is really kicking in. Simplification of labels has gone massive in the States. I was in a place in last year which is a sort of a sandwich bar, and they have a big table up on the wall. Our products do not contain the following, and all a list of all these food ingredients. And the only reason they're there, not because they're bad for you, but because they've got the chemical names. So there's a lovely product that comes out of seaweed called propylene glycolalginate. It's there on the label. We're not going to have this. Why? Because it's got a nasty label. A chemist gave it the label, not a consumer company. Somebody like me gave it a label 20 years ago, because we weren't thinking in consumer terms. And then I just wanted to finish with this one. We got involved with an EPA project. I was approached about 2 years ago by a guy down in North Cork, and he said he'd got access to 30 to 50,000 tons of waste potatoes. What could he do with them? And I said, well, let's think about doing potato starch. And I discovered that he needs 200 to 300,000 tons of potatoes to make a decent potato starch factory, and possibly a different species. So in the wrong species, he didn't have enough. So that was a bit disappointing. But eventually we got some funding from the EPA, and we've taken his peelings and we've treated them in simple kitchen chemistry, and we turned them into a fibre. And you put them into a muffin, you're able to reduce the fat of the muffin, add the fibre. The fibre is probably worth 2 or 3 euros, and at the moment he's getting 37 euros per wet ton going to animal feed. So he's got to put a little bit of capital into his plant. He's going to be able to make potato fibre. His challenge is how's he going to sell it, because he's in the potato business, he's not in the ingredient business. But that's the sort of thing that we're trying to give a little bit of innovation to a guy. In that project, he also said to me, do you know anything about carrots? So carrots contain pectin. Okay, so let's see what we can do. And we can actually make a gelling pectin fibre out of carrot, which is a fat replacer in burgers. So it's meat extension and a fat replacer. So that's us in a nutshell, and if you want to talk to us about anything to do with food texture or replacement of waste products or taking fat and sugar out of foods, give us a shout. Thank you very much.